Hello, everyone. We be live. Today it's just me. I hope that's okay. Let me know if you like my new lighting. It's a little bit darker in the background, but I'm still bright. I have new lightings and everything. Also, I have an announcement to make. Okay, I am on this channel. I am going to be doing more streams, a lot more public streams, but also some more members only streams. So I'm going to do streams reviewing Dawa videos. For people who don't know, Dawa videos are videos of Muslim YouTube channels who invite people to Islam and tell you how stupid liberalism is and how, about LGBT and all that stuff. So there's a lot of channels like that, like Muhammad Hijab, Ali Dawa, Daniel Hayraju, Smile to Jannah, So Daniel Hagaju's channel is Muslim Skeptic. So thank you, Sohat, confirming that my audio is great. Okay. So I am going to be doing a lot of streams reviewing their videos as they come out. I am going to one day get to a point where every single Muslim video that comes out of these popular Islamic Dawah channels or Islamic YouTube channels, I'm going to be reviewing them. Specifically these ones, Muhammad Hijab, as long as they're under certain amount of time, like not the 1 hour ones, like shorter ones, right? So Ali Dava, Muhammad Hijab, Smile to Jannah, and Muslim Skeptic. Okay, so this is the channel. I'm going to be basically reviewing every single one of them and critiquing them, analyzing them. That's what I'm going to be doing here, right? So if you like that, make sure you tell people that this is the channel for that. Okay, but again, I will be doing some. Most of it will be public. Well, I don't know. At some point, I'm going to get half. Maybe at some point, half of it will be public, and some of it is going to be for YouTube members only. So only YouTube members can watch it. And the ones that are YouTube members only, when I cut them and edit them, that's going to be for patrons only, the cut version of it, right? But there will be enough public ones for everybody, so as well. Anyways, so let's get to Patreon questions. I have here 7 Patreon questions, and I will go through them one by one. And then after that, I will post a link for members. If any of the members would like to come up, they could come up. But if not, that's fine as well. Let's see. Tom Campbell is asking, I don't know if I pronounced that name right. So Tom is asking, apostasy is punishable by death in Islamic countries. How do you deal with this? Depends on what you mean by how do you deal with them. And depends on the person, depends on where you are, which country. The question needs to be cut into so many different pieces, right? It depends on which country you're talking about. Who are you? Are you talking about an ex-Muslim within an Islamic country and how they deal with this while living there? Or are you talking about people who are living outside of Islamic countries and what is our reaction to it? I'm assuming you're talking about apostates in Islamic countries. How do you deal with it? And again, that depends on the country and depends on your status, depends on your situation. Are you in Iran? Or are you in another Islamic country? The laws, there are many Islamic countries that have that law but don't enforce that law. So a lot of ex-Muslims feel free a little bit freer to be open about their views. A lot of countries, it depends on the time you're in. So for example, in Iran, there are times where they are, we had a teacher who was executed in Iran for simply questioning Prophet Jonah's story in the Quran, saying that he was not swallowed by a fish, and that was metaphorical. So he didn't even question the Quran and say whether or not he didn't even suggest that the Quran is not from God, or that Islam is not true. He just suggested that that story of Prophet Jonah was metaphoric, and he was executed for that. A teacher with a very young child at that time. So, but at other times, like now, for example, there are people in the streets of Iran openly criticizing Islam and swearing at it with the most, the most aggressive tones are challenging Islam. Many of the ways that people in the streets are talking about Islam right now in Iran It's with such a tone and such an deserved aggression. I'm not criticizing it. That in many European countries or North American countries, they would call it Islamophobic, right? You see what people in Europe and North America categorize as Islamophobic is now being heard in Iran with more than most countries. Most countries. So publicly and openly, we see mothers of children who were killed by regime enforcers, regime officers, comments out and saying proudly that my son hated the Quran, right? Like KRP Falek, for example. And and the government, it's just too much for the government to go after every one of them. So again, now the situation is where people are just openly bragging about being anti-Islamic in Iran, right? And it's just too many for the government to want to have this law enforced. So it's kind of like a law that is, the government is also, not that they don't want to enforce it, the government is now also mostly concerned with things that are more a direct threat to itself, to its remaining power, rather than having to trying to preserve Islam. I mean, even when they are enforcing Islamic laws, it's mostly because it is somehow tied directly to its own survival. For example, whether or not they go backwards and forward with regards to enforcing hijab laws. Enforcement of hijab laws is right now because if they don't enforce it, there's too many religious radicals who would become anti-government as well. So again, it's more of a political battle. It's not directly always religious. It is religion and politics kind of are so commingled with each other that in a way that is that it's not as easy as like, oh, Islam says apostates must die, so therefore they're going to enforce it. It's a lot more complicated, and I know more about Iran than many other Islamic countries, and I see how complicated it can become. And so I imagine that must be like that in other Islamic countries that I am less informed about as well. But again, the experience varies a lot from country to country, and even in Iran, like, are you saying this? Are you an ex-Muslim in Sistan, Balochistan, or Tehran? Depends on your location, depends on your social status, depends on who you're connected to, depends on how many friends you have, depends on how many people know you, depends on so many different variables, right? So there's no how you deal with that. It really depends on what your specific situation is, right? Oh, hi, DD is here as well. So generally, I don't recommend telling people to just keep it to them. A lot of atheists that are not in Islamic countries tell ex-Muslims to, just keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Just be safe. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And I'm like, who the hell are you to tell them it's not worth it? Are you suffering from a lack of freedom? You don't know how much suffocating it could be for you to live in a country where you cannot express yourself or you're not living freely. And what it's irresponsible for you to tell people to go and risk their lives. That is irresponsible. You shouldn't do that. But you shouldn't also tell them not to, right? Because a lot of people in free countries, especially North American and European countries, are so ungrateful. They're like, oh, ex-Muslims, just be careful. Just no, keep it to yourself. Don't say anything. It's not worth your life. Life is so important to us, unlike religious people. And there's nothing worth martyrdom is for religious people. It's nothing worth risking your life. Shut up. You are sitting in a place where people are enjoying freedom and rights and stability and prosperity because so many people before you came and risked their lives. And you're sitting there and enjoying the fruits of their labor and their risk and everything they sacrifice. And now other people who are choosing themselves that they want to do this for their country, to want to go through that same sacrifice to maybe be able to get their country to a place where they could enjoy the same level of freedom, stability, and prosperity that you are. You're telling them to just stay quiet? Shut up. Shut the hell up. No, Soha, I'm not talking about people who are religious. I'm talking about other atheists. I'm talking about other atheists who tell religious ex-Muslims to stay safe. Anyways. Okay. So let's go to the next question. Again, for people who are just came here, I just want to make an announcement again because I am going to be doing a lot more streams reviewing Muslim YouTube channels, the videos that they have that are coming, especially Muhammad Hijab, Ali Dava, Muslim Skeptic, which is Daniel Hayraju, and Smile to Jannah. I'm going to be reviewing a lot of their videos on stream. A lot of it is going to be public, but some of it is going to be members only. So I'm going to do streams that are for members only. So if you want to join on those streams, consider becoming a YouTube member. And also, I edit these clips and I make them shorter and a lot more to the point. So the streams that are public, when I edit them, the edited version is also public. But the streams that are for YouTube members only, the clipped version of that, the edited version of that, will be for patrons only. So that's how that works. All right. Oh yeah, welcome. Oh yes, I forgot to mention this to you guys. I'm back on Twitter. Woohoo! Go follow me at Armin Navabi. I'm back. I'm back. Oh yeah, Dia saying, "Oh great, I like the reviews." Yeah, I think like I'm enjoying doing this as well. Doing those as well. Okay. I don't know. This is what is this guy? Look at this. All right, let's go. Some weird comments in the live chat. All right, D is saying, wondering if you are aware of this update. U.S. Charges 3 in plot to kill Iranian American author in New York City. Yes, the entire Iranian social media has exploded over this news. So yes, I am aware of it. Let's actually look at the link that you sent us. So yeah, U.S. charges 3 in plot to kill Iranian American author in New York City, and there's a picture of Masih Alinejad. So should I read the whole thing or just okay? This story continues. I'll just read the summary up here. No. Okay. The Justice Department has charged 3 men in an alleged plot that originated in Iran to kill an Iranian American author and activist who has spoken out against human rights abuses, their official said Friday. So they didn't mention Masih Alinejad, but it's pretty obviously, like, at least according to a lot of people, it's obviously Masih Alinejad. This is I don't know, I lost count. This is a third attempted assassination / kidnapping of her by Iran on American soil. May I remind everybody? I mean, this is officially a declaration of war, isn't it? The Iranian regime, Masih Alinejad is an American citizen. The Iranian regime has been attempting to take her out on American soil multiple times right now. This is an act of aggression by Iranian regime on American soil. How is this not a declaration of war? Like, I mean, I know that's not how people treat it, but what the hell? And then we still have some people telling us, like, oh, we shouldn't sanction Iran. Like, what do you want them to do? They're like, it's amazing how they're not attacking Iran after all of this. All right, so the men. Okay, I don't want to read all the details because if I read the details, it's going to change. Like, this just happened, and the details are constantly changing. So, but if I read the details here, by the time our editor clips this and puts them out, it's going to be the news about it is going to be, the details is going to be very different, and this is going to be outdated. But I just want to let you know that we're going to keep an eye on this. and we're going to let you know what's happening. So these are from the people are from Czech Republic, Slovenia, and Yonkers, New York. So we have New York, Czech Republic, and Slovenia. Apparently, these were trained assassins that the Iranian regime has just hired. Like, they weren't even Iranians. They just went and found again a group that does these kind of things, and they just hired them. All right. So yeah, I think this is going to, I don't know what, so this is going to have a major impact on Biden. If Biden's administration ever wanted to move forward with the JCPOA, the Iranian regime is making it very, very difficult for them. Very difficult for them. Imagine all the, not just Republican, but Democrat senators and congressmen, the reaction to Biden trying to push forward with negotiations with Iran after attempted assassinations on American soil. Like, this is going to be a very, very hard sell for Biden. Yeah, Doorknob Head is saying is it really trained? The last guy, yeah, Doorknob Head remembers the last guy was kind of a goofball, if I remember correctly. Yeah, actually, well, I mean, they were trained. Apparently, they were not trained very good, because I don't know if I'm correct, but the last guy apparently was from the same group or not. I don't know. I don't know about the details, but they don't seem to be very good at what they're doing, even though they have like their brand and everything seems to act like they're trained professionals and stuff like that. We'll look into the details of how this assassination attempt was done, and the details. Like, maybe we'll cover this on the Atheist Republic channel, the details of it. So make sure you're subscribed to Atheist Republic. But this has been bizarre. Somebody saying, no, it's not an act of war. I mean, okay. It's just a permit for us to do such attacks, assassination in Persia. Well, funny you mentioned that. Do people know what I'm referring to? Because within the past 12 hours, I think, there have been drone attacks. Apparently, again, this is just happening. So I have no idea how accurate this news is, but things are going boom boom in Iran, and I'm assuming maybe it's Israel right now. There are drones being seen in the over buildings and then the explosion. So Iran is also under attack right now. As we, this just happened a few hours ago, and this is going viral very fast as well. But I'm not going to talk about it much in detail, because anything I say could be refuted very soon. So I have to see this is an ongoing news, and we're going to look into it soon. Maybe also on Atheist Republic. So make sure you're subscribed to Atheist Republic, because we're going to analyze that news as well. But again, they don't need permits to do this. By the way, I know you were joking, but Iran is going nuclear, and that is dangerous to the entire planet. And Israel is, unfortunately, our only hope, because nobody else is nobody else is doing these assassinations plus attacks in Iran. To this is so bizarre. Our only hopes is now a far right government to be able to at least delay Iran's ambition in going nuclear. So I don't know. Oh, thank you, Soha. Soha is providing you with the link of Atheist Republic YouTube channel. That's where we are going to we cover this. Oh, Prometheus is saying, what's wrong with them? The word assassin itself is Persian. They need to live up to that. Okay, no, assassin is, I think you're talking about the group that was a part of the Fatimid Empire. That was a different Shia empire. That's not the Iranian empire. That was not the Persian empire. That was in Egypt, Prometheus. That was not in Iran. But yeah, I mean, what's wrong with them is a better reaction than what you said after, because you would assume that they know that this is going to backfire. So are the Iranian politicians idiots? Are they dumb? Are they like, do they not want to stay in power? Why would they do something like this that would jeopardize their power so much, right? So what do you think? That because the people say, a lot of people look at the Iranian regime's actions, and some of them seems very intelligent and some of them seem like so dumb, and they can't make sense of it. Like, how is this regime still in power if they make such dumb decisions? And the answer to that is that the Iranian regime, is not one thing, is not one entity. Everything makes more sense if you realize that there are multiple powers that are dancing with each other and competing with each other within the Iranian government, and some of them have power over some elements of the government, and some of them have powers over different elements of the government. The umbrella power, the thing that has the most influential power in the regime, is Khamenei and IRGC, right? But even within the office of the supreme leader, the Daftar Rahbari, there are competing powers, and even within IRGC, there are competing powers, and some of them make decisions that are not necessarily always approved by other parts, and they are sometimes like challenging each other. Right now, more than ever, there's division within the powers that be within the Iranian government, right? Mojo's, yes, Mojo. Israel is becoming far right. Like, I don't know, guys. You need to watch more of us. If you don't know that Israel is going far right, then we need to do more to on this channel to educate you guys. Oh wait, I need to remove this. Like, oh my god, Iran doesn't have nukes. You don't say. Yeah, Iran is becoming nuclear. It doesn't have nukes right now, but it's getting very close. Sorry, I shouldn't belittle you guys. Okay, let's see. Gusal is asking, is there anything that ex-Muslims or atheists do that makes you cringe? Yes, many. The assumption that atheists are scientific minded, that are into science. The assumption that religious people are all idiots. The the Some of the anti-Islam narrative is cliche and boring and repetitive, I think. And it's fine if you are a new ex-Muslim, it's fine, but you should mature out of that very soon and have more nuanced takes on your anti-religious takes, unless some obvious um claims are being challenged, then you need to come out and just say the obvious, even though you have said it a million times, right? But even with that reaction, when some people come out and just say anti-religious or anti-Islamic things that have been that you need to have grown out of, like, it's just so obvious, and you're talking to a group of atheists, so I don't know why you're even saying it to us. I just think sometimes it's just so cringe. I mean, we're talking, like, I don't know, sometimes I have streams and we're talking about some details about the history of revisionist history of Islam, and somebody comes and, like, I don't know, Muhammad was a pedo. I'm like, okay, okay, like, look at the level of discussion that we're having, and look at what you're saying. Um, that is cringe. That's annoying as hell. Like, we're all ex-Muslim here. We're all like, who are you even talking to? Like, was somebody cheering Muhammad here? And even if there were, this is not the best reaction. This is not going to be something that is going to get anything out of the conversation. Like, that's not how. If Are you trying to change their mind? Because that's not necessarily going to help, right? Oh my god! So, wow, look at this guy. Okay, I'm not even going to highlight your comment. You're so dumb. Okay, I'm gonna highlight these things. Armin, very close doesn't mean that they have. You don't say. Are you sure about that? I'm glad you told me, because I thought saying that they are very close to being nuclear means that they have nukes. My God. Ian is saying, Armin, will USA allow Iran to go nuclear? It's a matter of they don't want to, but it's not a matter of it's can they? It's will they? I don't know. Can they? I don't know. Do they want to stop them? Yes, they want more than many things. This is it's a very, very important issue. The ability of it is the question is how are you going to stop them? Especially without the JCPOA, Iran is at a position that is fully capable, like it already has enough enriched uraniums to make nuclear weapons, and it already has the missile technology to just put these two together, and now you have nukes. So, and as the longer we go forward without stopping this regime, especially now because there's no international observers within Iran, the more so the ideal situation for Iran is going to be 5 minutes away from having a nuke, right? So imagine here. So you have enriched uranium, right? And you have missiles. And if you go like this, now you have nuclear weapons. But that takes a while to do this, right? But Iran, so what's the benefits of having nukes? The benefits of having nukes is for your enemies to not dare attack you, right? That's the benefits of having nukes. For Iran, what are the costs of having nukes? For Iran, the cost for the Islamic Republic, the costs of having nukes is that the entire civilized world will unite against you, right? So, what would be the ideal situation for the Islamic Republic? To take advantage of all the benefits of having nukes, but not have all the costs associated with having nukes. So, what you do is that you have all the pieces to have nukes, but you never go like this. You never put them together. You just keep them separate, and you try to keep improving the technology so that if you need to go from not putting these together, from not the, going from the status of not having nukes to having nukes, could be very, very short. So basically you don't have nukes, but you could have nukes like this if you wanted to. So basically, technically, on the papers you don't have nuclear weapons, but if anybody attacked you, you could be like, "Well, I have nukes in 5 minutes." But I mean, that's an exaggeration. But that would be the ideal situation. So legally, you could announce that I don't have nukes, and even if you lie, information gets leaked. Um, but at the same time, people understand that if you wanted to have nukes, you would have nukes. So that would be the most ideal situation for the Iranian regime, for the Islamic Republic, and they're constantly getting closer to that, and that's very worrisome. The reason why that's very worrisome is because a lot of I know nobody's going to attack Iran militarily, but just the slight possibility of that makes the Iranian regime be somewhat more measured with its actions, both externally with its terrorist activities and internally when it comes to human rights violations. If the Islamic Republic gets to a point where it basically technically has nukes, then the possibility of an attack on the Iranian soil would be so low that the Iranian regime would be a lot of more bold with its actions, both when it comes to human rights violations internally and its terrorist activities outward. Let me know if that makes sense. Yeah, Prometheus is pointing out that they couldn't stop North Korea, Israel, or India. Exactly. All right, let's continue. By the way, there's a birthday party close to me, so that's why the background noise. Sorry about that. Let's go with a Prometheus question. Prometheus is asking, a lot of you who are anti-Modi are just leftists. Oh, that's what Prometheus is saying. Prometheus is putting that in quotation, so he's quoting other people. Said Armin. Oh no, you're quoting me. Said Armin in last stream. Will Armin change his opinion on Modi's economic policies after the latest Hindenburg report, which shows how Modi's close friend Adani has leveraged his power to compromise the entire Indian banking system and get billions of dollars of taxpayer money either through investments or loans? Okay, so this actually kind of hints that I was right, because I know this is a stereotype, but it's true here, right? So I don't want to generalize. Leftists don't understand economy. Okay, so a lot of times what leftists do, again, I'm not saying this how big of a problem this is. This might be a huge problem, a small problem, what Prometheus is saying. Okay, but that's not a good way to judge whether the economy is moving in the right direction or not. Okay, you could find examples of really bad policies by government, but generally the policies could be in the right direction. But what leftists do is like, oh, look at this horrible decision that this person has made over here, and they're like, and they want to take a general conclusion out of that, make about the entire state of the economy. The truth is, right now, India's economy seems to be moving in the right direction. But if you want to criticize me, this is what you should be saying. Because you say, Armin, yes, India, the predictions for Indian economy looks very bright. But you haven't looked into how much of that is because of Modi. That would be the fair criticism that you have. I just assumed, maybe wrongly, that all these good predictions about India's economy, has maybe something to do with the recent policies by the government in India. I might be wrong about that. Okay. But given without that information, without looking into it, that's not a bad assumption. Okay. Maybe I'll correct myself once I do more research about it. Right. But again, what you are saying is one example of, I don't know, corruption or a bad deal. That is not how you judge the entirety of the direction of a country's economic policy and whether or not it's moving in the right direction or not. But let me see what you're saying. But Modi is creating an oligarchy with this. Okay, well, I'll look more into what Modi is doing, but again, Prometheus still does not contradict, and I say this as a leftist myself, by the way, so this does not contradict that right now India seems to be moving in the direction to become an economic superpower, and our hatred for Modi should not make us ignore that, and we should be even happy about that. We shouldn't we be careful so that this would be good. I've seen many times in many countries, not just in India, where people who are against the politician cheer the economic failures of that politician. I'm not saying you're doing that here, okay, but we should be hoping that Modi's government is making good economic decisions, even if that means that he's going to become more popular and we don't like him and his popularity would be, something that we don't like, right? However, our main concern should be the economic prosperity of people, right? And that takes priority over everything else, So and it looks like India, and eventually I think India, if the predictions are true about India's economic future, economic prosperity, not for as a per capita, not for the whole country, but per capita usually leads to improved rights, social democracy and secularism, like that, in the long run, not in the short term, right? So this is something that would be good. But again, I would look at some point, I will do some more research into this, because I do have some background in finance and economics, and I will see how credible these predictions are and how much of that is thanks to Modi. Because it might not be thanks to Modi. It might be because it just India it just happens to be given the population that it has, and given how more countries need to alternative trading partners, especially to China. This India is just population wise, geographic wise, um, and and geographic politics and population wise, it just happens to be exactly where it needs to be for a lot of trading partners to want to take advantage of that, and that would just lead natural, like maybe it's so India's situation future is so bright that even the worst politician can't screw it up. Maybe that's what's happening. Yeah, okay, so Prometheus thing, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But Modi is not responsible for this. You do remember the farmer laws, which were against people's interests and were solely to benefit Adani. I don't know how bad the farmers' laws were, because the farmers' laws were moving in the direction of a more freer market. So again, people's choice. Again, I have to look into that more, right? That might have been actually a good decision. You have to understand that people don't understand economy. Something that is good for the farmers may not necessarily be good for India. So, and people's interest does not necessarily mean that it's aligned with the economic interests of the country. So the farmers laws that they were going with might have made the market a lot more competitive. Maybe it would have been for bad for the farmers, but it would have lowered the prices and benefited the average Indian, right? So when you say it was against people's interests, no, not necessarily. It was against the farmers' interest, but on average, it might have been in line with the interest of your average Indian. All right, but again, so I'm not gonna go into more. That requires more like deeper analysis before you could judge that. I'm just saying that statement goes against people's interest. That might not necessarily be true. Okay. Saying no, it was against consumers as well as farmers. Well, I mean, if the farmers can control the market and set the prices, it doesn't go. It was not necessarily within the interest of the consumers. Like, wouldn't that, if the farmers have so much control over the prices in the market, I don't know how that benefits the consumers. Again, I need to look more into this to be able to judge. I can't just like take your word for it. Yeah, somebody is saying farm laws were good according to Western reports. Yeah, yeah. Well, I have to look into it. Oh my god, somebody's saying Prometheus is basically a Muslim. What the hell? No, that's weird. That's a weird claim. All right. So that was Prometheus's question. I need to more I need to look more into India's economy to be able to talk about it more. I would be interested. All right, so this is another question by D. D is saying people no longer have to be told why they are being arrested, or what rights they have to or given or what rights they have or given access to a lawyer. Wow, crazy. Your thoughts? So this is referring to this article. Rights group leak El Salvador data confirms abuses. This is interesting. Okay, I don't know much about this. So Human Rights Watch says it has obtained a database leak from El Salvador's government that corroborates massive due process violations, severe prison overcrowding, and deaths in custody under the emergency powers put in place last March to confront a surge in gang violence. See, this is when people use the excuse for more security as a way to just remove people's rights. The Global Human Rights organization said Friday that the database from the Ministry of Public Safety lists details about some 50,000 people arrested between the implementation of the state of exception in late March through late August. A spokesperson. Okay, so where's the part that says? Hold on. People no longer have to. Okay, here. El Salvador's Legislative Assembly approved the suspension of some fundamental rights following an outburst of violence from the country's powerful street gangs. This is crazy. Look at this. People no longer have to be told why they are being arrested or what rights they have or given access to a lawyer. The government also suspended the rights of association. Okay. I don't know much about El Salvador, but this just shows how slippery your rights are. Okay? This just shows how slippery your rights are and how important it is for you to fight for them. Guys, don't let governments scare you into allowing them to take your rights away like that, because you don't know if they're going to come back. You don't know if your rights are going to come back. This is, and once, I mean, even, do you even have the rights? Let's say, for example, you have in a country the right to access a lawyer, but the government can decide to take that away from you. So technically, you didn't have that right to begin with, because you have access to a lawyer unless the government was to put the stop to that. So the government is just blessing you with the right, with the decision of you having access to a lawyer. It's not really a right anymore. It's a blessing coming from the top, which could be taken away at any time. This is why you have to be so grateful to be living in a European country or a North American countries, because these challenges to your rights are a lot more difficult. Not impossible, as we saw in United States. Women's rights was taken away, rights to abortion. And you saw in Canada, people's bank accounts were frozen because of protests and stuff like that. So, but this is, you guys need to be on guard. A lot of you who live in countries where you have always enjoyed these rights, you've been spoiled. You think these are just come with birth. You think this is just like a de facto thing that is just part of life. You have no idea how much history and how much bloodshed and how much people have went through to be able to get these things, and you don't understand how you could just lose it all like this. And thank you, D, for showing this to us, because we need constant reminder for people to show citizens of every country how much they need to be on guard to protect, not just fight for more rights, but to guard the rights that they have already gotten, right? Because unlike what the Enlightenment philosopher, I like the Enlightenment philosophers, but one thing they got wrong is that these are not natural rights. These are not God-given rights. These are human fought for rights. It's not God-given, it's human fought for. And there's nowhere in nature that makes these things a must. These are things that you get. It's not things that nature gifts you. And once you get it, you need to hold it and defend it with your lives. So yeah, that's what I think about it. Given that I don't know much about El Salvador, I'm just going to use this as a way to make a more general statement. Yeah, Prometheus is saying, where is it? But their gang situation is so bad that I am not even surprised. Yeah, but that's how you lose your rights. That's how you lose your rights by these type of arguments. That the security issue is so bad that we need to just for a tiny bit, we need more security. We need government to save us. These are really hold on, let me show you a meme. That's I don't know how to spell these things in French, so I'm just gonna search for it in English because I know it's a French meme. Oh no, there's an English version. That's good. No, that's not the. But it's low res. There's liberté versus sécurité, something like that. Okay, I'll do the liberté versus sécurité. I don't know if that's the French version. Oh yeah, there we go. So let me show you a meme that captures maybe a little bit better what I'm trying to tell you guys. Wow, it's not letting me download the image, so I need to do a Google. I need to do a Paint, and then save it as a Paint because I hate it when you can't download an image. All right, let me show you this meme. Yeah, look at this. So this is what happens, right? So you see, this is perfect balance, liberty and security. Okay, and then you like Prometheus comes in. Prometheus comes in. No, not Prometheus. I don't want to pick on you today, but somebody, okay? Like, no, but we need more security. Help with the security. Guys, the situation is so bad. I know liberty and security is always in balance. And so, important that keep this balance. But these are exceptional time. These are exceptional time, and exceptional times needs exceptional solutions. So you're like, let's make security bigger because liberty is trying to keep this security thing on leash. But once you give security too much priority, that's what happens to liberty. And the problem is that you're not going to get your liberty back. You're just not going to get it back. That's what's going to happen, right? Sorry. Yes. Oh wait, Idris is saying Roman dictators used to be necessary and effective in crisis, but over time the precedents added up to that Caesar could easily become a emperor. Yeah, actually, guys, like this whole idea of liberty, security is important, and all of a sudden, liberty that was fought for decades and hundreds of years were lost like this. Like you fight for these liberal rights, your rights, for hundreds and hundreds of years, and you get them, and then because of a security threat, you lose them so much faster than you got them, and then you have to now fight for getting them back for hundreds and hundreds of years again, right? That's why you can't, like, especially at the times that you're afraid and you feel like, I need daddy government to protect me. I need daddy government to protect me. Please help me. Those times you have to be diligent. You have to be like, yes, protect us, but not at the expense of our rights. Not at the expense of our rights. Everything, do everything you can, even if it means that more of us will die. Okay? Because when you lose your liberty, the standards of your country will drop to such a level that the death will be even more than the security. You will. What is that quote? Those who give up. What was that quote? Oh my God, those who abandon their liberty to get some sense of security deserve neither, right? Because you lose both. Because you have a boogeyman coming after you, and you're like, daddy government, save me. And the daddy government becomes the boogeyman, because daddy government, without your rights, becomes the ultimate boogeyman, bigger than the boogeyman that you gave the powers to save you from, right? So yes, you need daddy government to protect you, but keep daddy government on a leash as well. And what keeps daddy government on a leash? Your rights. Your rights keep daddy government on a leash. Because no monster, no gang, no drug gang, no criminal organization will be able to screw you more efficiently, okay, up in the bum, right, more than a tyrannical government consistently and for longer. And believe me, I come from a country that was tyrannical. You have no idea what it's like to live under a government like that. Okay? All right, let's continue. All right. Gusal is asking, where do you see the ex-Muslim community going in the next few years? Any challenges or areas for growth? It's moving east. It's moving east, okay? The ex-Muslim community right now, it's in the Middle East and hopefully at some point more east, like Malaysia and Indonesia. So, and I think the rest of the atheist world needs to recognize that, and because right now that is not being recognized. I mean, from all the main atheist YouTube channels that are out there, correct me if I'm wrong, none of them brought any attention to the largest ex-Muslim movement that is happening right now in history, that happens to be also the most anti-religious movement, not just in our lifetime, but in history, period, is being completely ignored. The largest anti-religious movement in the world in history is happening right now by an ex-Muslim movement in Iran. It has turned into a goddamn revolution. The entirety of the revolution is not anti-religious, but it is a major part of it. We have to go back as far as the French Revolution to look at something even similar when it comes to a movement against religion, but that was more against organized religion, like that was against the church, not necessarily against Christianity itself. What we're seeing right now is against Islam itself. We have seen the biggest mass exodus out of religion in history. Close to half of the population. This is Gamon's Institute SAS. These are scientific stats, shows that half of a country with 85 million people, okay, I repeat, half of a country with the population of 85 million people have gone from being religious, from being Muslim, to being non-religious. Again, not going from Islam to another religion, to leaving religion as a whole within their lifetime, within 40 years. This is not a multi-generational thing. This has happened in one generation. Close to half of 85 million have left Islam, and they are now non-religious. Iran is now a Muslim minority country. You are asking me about the ex-Muslim community? How about half a country? Somebody is asking me 85 million. Are you sure? Well, yes, Google that. It's actually more than 85 million. It's more than 85 million. But do you guys want to see? Let me show you. And again, guys, this is not just going to be Iran. Okay, this is the future of Saudi Arabia. This is the future of Pakistan. Maybe Pakistan a bit later, but definitely North African countries. Egypt is happening sooner than most people realize. Tunisia, definitely. Morocco, definitely. Right? Jordan, definitely. Egypt, a little bit later. Pakistan, a lot later. But still, Pakistan is going to happen. This is the future. This is the future of Islam. So this is the state of the ex-Muslim community. This is what I think about the state of the ex-Muslim community. But again, for people who think that I'm making this stuff up, let me show you that you are bigly mistaken. Is that it? Okay, I just made stuff up. But here. No, not with IRGC's fall. It's happening now. It's already happened. No, Zoroastrians. No, Prometheus is saying Zoroastrians are rising up again. No, I know you're joking, but no, they're leaving religion. Let me show you this. Yeah, Iran population is 87 million. Yeah, so 85, rounded 85. So yeah, more than 85 million. But let me show you the stats, okay? So let me just show you two stats here, okay? This is the state of Iran's. Which of the this is this is how people responded. Which of the following is closer to your beliefs and faith? Okay, this is the answer that people have given in Iran, right? So non 22%, atheist 8%, right? But look, if you add up the Muslims, Shia, and agnostic, so that would be 38%. No, sorry, Shia and Sunni, that would be 37%. And then let's go. Who else is Muslim here? Sunni Muslim, Sufis, another 3%. So 40%. So 40% of Iran is Muslim. So Iran is now a Muslim minority country. A Muslim minority country. But again, you want to see the ex-Muslim movement? Look at this. Let me see where I can find the stats that shows the mass exodus that I'm talking about. This is graph number figure 1. This is figure 2. Figure 3. Oh, okay. This, look how beautiful this is. Look at how beautiful this is. Okay, look at this. The question is, how have your religious or non-religious belief changed during your lifetime? Okay, we're talking about one generation. This is not a multi-generational change. Show me one time anywhere else this has happened in history. Okay, look at this. It's dividing it based on demographics, but here's the number that I was talking about. 47% or 46.8% of the population have answered. The red represents this answer. I went from being religious to non-religious. 46.8% within one generation. There has been never has there been such a major mass exodus, not just out of Islam, but out of religion in history, anywhere in the world. And this is only going to grow. Again, we're talking about a country with a population of 87 million people. And this is what's happening there. And I don't understand why other atheist channels and content creators are not recognizing. This is why we're having a revolution in Iran right now. Because the regime does not represent the philosophy of its people. There are people out there in the streets in Iran, and part of the chants are against the religion as a whole, against Islam as a whole. And like, where are all these YouTube channels? Where are all these atheist YouTube channels? Are they so Western centric? Like, has Cosmic Skeptic talked about this? I messaged them. I begged them to talk about this. Where are their videos? Has Genetically Modified Skeptic talked about this? Has Matt Dillahunty talked about this? Where are their videos? Like, do they not care about their fellow atheists? They are atheist YouTube channels. They talk about atheism and religion. And this is the biggest atheist movement ever, not just an ex-Muslim movement, but atheist movement. Why are you silent about this? Like, how and again, you can't tell them that nobody's asking them. I messaged them. I asked them, at least cosmic skeptic and genetically modified skeptic. And they ignored. I emailed them. I Facebook messaged them. I did everything. Why would they not talk about this? Why would you not talk about your fellow atheists? Oh, D is saying this is why we need Atheist Republic. Oh, thank you, D. Like, this is when they need you, your fellow atheists need you the most. You missed a movement. You missed the beginning, your voices. Like, even mainstream media was covering Iranians shouting out to the world and asking for attention. And a lot of these people were atheists and anti-religious, and atheist YouTube channels were silent about it. Mainstream media, like, usually these are channels that are like, oh, we cover things that mainstream media doesn't cover. Mainstream media is covering them and listening to their voices, listening for their desperate ask for help, and you did no video, nothing to show to your audience about what's happening to atheists across the world. I don't know. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. Wait, let me refresh the Patreon just to see if everything's here. Okay, good. All right. Let me post a link to the community tab just in case. I know this channel doesn't have that many members, but I have to put the link in the community tab for members only, just because we said we would. On the community tab of Secular Jihadists, I'm going to say come up and ask your questions and post a link to the stream for anybody who might want to come up. And if you're a YouTube member, you would be able to see that on the community tab, and you would be able to come up and talk to me live on there. All right. Oh, we have somebody that just become a member. So I'm assuming maybe that person would like to come up. Okay. But I will answer this question first before I bring members up. Thank you so much, Vix Life, for becoming a member. You became an imperialist West puppet. Thank you. So Gusale is saying, when it comes to the discussion and critique of Islam, what do you wish we could leave in the past? Wait, hold on. Let me read this again. When it comes to the discussion of and critique of Islam, what do you think? What do you wish we could leave in the past? Considering that you've been doing this for over 15 years. I don't understand the question, guys. What do you think? What do you guys think this question means? Can you guys help me out? Like, one thing that we don't do anymore. I think this is very similar to the other question that Gusada had. I think I already answered this. Why we could leave in the past, something that we don't repeat again. Well, because I already criticized the ex-Muslims and atheists, I will just say that given that leftists now are maturing enough to be as anti-Islam as they are anti-Christian, I just wish that that whole period of time that we went through, that they were so biased and they were being hypocritical when it comes to the critique that they had for Christianity and not Islam. I wish that didn't happen, because we lost a lot of new ex-Muslims to right-leaning groups. A lot of ex-Muslims became right-leaning and stayed right-leaning because of that. Because they say, like, well, okay, well, if I don't have an environment for me to express my frustrations with Islam within a community that I thought it would be my home, because left is all about minorities and liberalism. So somebody coming out of Islam thinking like, yes, liberalism. I leave the Islamic values for liberty. So where's my home? The left is my home, right? These people, I am a minority, right, in this country. So so they seem to like minorities, and they're also for liberalism. And I'm yes, Islam is conservative. I'm against that. I'm liberal. So the left seems to be my home, and then they were not welcome there. And a lot of them are like, they were, oh, these people are against religion. They're talking crap about Christianity. Don't do this. Was back way back before, right? And they're like, okay, yeah, I have things to say to you about Islam. And they're like, no, this is bad. You should not say that. This is Islamophobic or racist. So, like, what the hell? So a lot of them went to, I don't know, join right-leaning groups, because they seem to be very welcoming. I mean, that was unfortunate because those right-leaning people were using them. They were becoming tokens. They were being used, for their own bigoted narratives. And now a lot of them left, and they just stayed there. So what did we do? A lot of us decided to not go to the right, and the left wasn't welcoming us. The right was using us. So we're like, well, let's just build our own platforms. I mean, it wasn't as successful as the ex-Muslims who joined the right-leaning platforms because their platforms were big, or a lot of ex-Muslims that were making their own content and were appealing to right-leaning people, like Yasmin Muhammad, for example, right? So that's very lucrative, right? But we're just like, okay, screw that. They be bigots, and screw the leftists as well. We'll just stay here and just say what needs to be said. And that's what we did. And I just hope that we didn't have to go through that, because the left would be a lot stronger if it was consistent with its values. Yeah, Mojo is saying something. Yeah, Mojo is saying, yep, I left Islam for liberty. I mean, Islam is right-wing, right? Yeah, very, very much right-wing. Okay. Mojo is saying, the right damaged my activism because I don't want to feed the right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I understand against hearts. Prometheus is saying most Muslims still don't know the basic critique of Islam. They still defend things like Aisha's age. Yeah, I'm gonna do a video on Aisha's age at some point soon. I think Daniel Hayraju is going to do a video on Aisha's age, and I'm going to be here to critique it. So if you like me critiquing Daniel Hayraju's video that will come at some point about Aisha's age, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you hit the bell notification so that this channel grows a little bit. Okay, please make sure you like the video. It doesn't cost you anything and helps us grow. And also hit the bell notification, because these things I'm planning on doing a lot of live videos on this channel. And I'm not going to be able to tell when I'm going to go live. So the only way for you to get the notification for when I'm going live, for you to make sure that you hit the bell notification. Oh, Vikram is here. That's great. Great timing, because I just answered my final Patreon question. All right, so guys, I'm going to bring Vikram up. Again, Vikram is here because he's a YouTube member, and only YouTube members are able to see the link for you to come up, and I posted on the community tab of the YouTube channel of Secular Jihadists, and that's how you could come up and talk to me live on air. Okay, so let's bring Vikram. Hi.
Hey Armin, how are you, man?
Good. How are you? Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've just been busy and stuff. How's everything on your side?
Good. I was just answering Patreon questions, talking about religion, talking about politics, talking about atheist channels who haven't been covering the revolution in Iran and stuff like that.
Yeah, I had a bunch of questions to ask you, so I'll just begin. So,
Okay, go.
first, just like a quick question, have you seen Destiny's debate with Haki Kachu on Andrew Tate, the second one?
Yes, I did.
What did you think of it?
I think Destiny just destroyed him, to be honest. And usually, if even when Daniel Hayraju gets destroyed, I kind of can see why somebody might think Daniel did better. But this time it was just so brutal. This time it was so ridiculous. Like Destiny just, I don't know. It just like completely took him out. What do you think?
I haven't watched a full thing yet. I just watched like parts of it. But the part I was at, it felt like Daniel came to defend Islam more than he came to defend Andrew Tate. Because there was a question when Destiny asked him, About what Ramit was like, oh, if Andrew Tate was a Muslim, like, would you defend him? And he said yes. But then half of his opening statement was just talking about Islam. But it's like, why did you even bring up Islam? You know?
Well, I think the conspiracy is that him being a Muslim is the reason why they're targeting him. It just sounds so loony. I mean, I know Daniel has his conspiracy theories, but this one was more loony than his normal conspiracy theories, right? Like, usually he has a way of making it seem a legitimate conspiracy theory, like, even at least to the people who are not trying to notice that this is all ridiculous. I just think that, I mean, the topic was, he constantly equated trafficking people to just general bad practices within the porn industry, and but and he thinks there's a double standard. So look at the lines of the connections that he's making, right? So given that United States has some influence over Romania, okay, one, right? So that's connection one, right? Over the policies that they have, okay? And given that Andrew Tate has become Muslim, and obviously that makes, and he's popular, and that makes the global powers concerned, apparently, right? And given that there's no really a fine line between what is coercive control over someone's mobility versus just general standard behavior within the porn industry. Like, for example, if I go and pay for somebody on OnlyFans, he was equating that because she's like kind of manipulating me. Like, oh, maybe like I'm with what Andrew Tate was doing, taking people's passports away and forcing them to stay and threatening them. And, so he's saying that this is like, where's the line? Given that there is no line, there's no way to, this is up for feelings, that there's no hard line and you could just choose to enforce it on somebody. So he's like comparing, like, for example, let's say I go on OnlyFans and I pay for seeing pictures of a girl, and I feel like, oh my God, and she talks to me in a way that I feel like I have a special connection with her, and I don't, right? So they're like, oh, she's manipulating you as well. She lied to you. So you're saying Andrew Tate, for example, lied to people about being their girlfriend and being in love with them, and that's gaslighting, and that's called behavior, and that's manipulating and stuff like that. So if that's coercion, so this girl is also manipulating guys on her OnlyFans. So is that human trafficking? Like, no. What? So, I mean, he doesn't understand that in law there's a spectrum, and you have to understand there are a lot of people use precedent, people use a lot of legal definitions to figure out whether something meets the criteria, and there's strict definitions for what these laws are. And just because it's a spectrum and you cannot really pinpoint where that line is, it doesn't mean that it's obvious when you have passed the line, right? So
Yeah.
there are very few instances where you are on the line enough for this to become very difficult for you to know if you have passed the line or you haven't passed the line. But for many cases, it's very obvious that, like, okay, this is, I know there are some gray areas, but this is definitely past the line. For example, this is definitely human trafficking or not, right? And that's why we have the court system, because to decide this. But he's putting these together, him being a Muslim, United States having power over, having an influence over Romania, having standards that United States likes, right? And the fact that these legal things are a spectrum, right? And also Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, the fact that, like, oh, look at them, United States is against them, like, and that's not justified. So it's not beyond, it's not too ridiculous to assume they're doing the same thing with Andrew Tate, which is an insane suggestion. It's an insane suggestion. Like, Julian Assange and Edward Snowden were people who had who leaked information that was very damaging to the United States, as their position in the world, when their intelligence. Again, I don't take United States sides on this. Right? I'm obviously on the side of Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, but to compare those people to Andrew Tate, who's giving you crypto advice and who's giving you tips on how to treat your bottom bitch so that she becomes your bottom bitch, or like stuff like that. Again, I don't know these terms, right? But that he's comparing him to those people. It's just insane. It's insane. And he kept on trying to talk about these other cases, and Destiny kept on trying to bring him like, where's a Destiny was really good at saying like, okay, we're talking about whether Andrew Tate committed a crime. You don't have any evidence. And every time he asked Daniel Haqiqatjou for evidence, Daniel Haqiqatjou went on other cases like, well, you look at here, look at Edward Snowden, Julian Assange, look at the influence the United States has on Romania. I'm like, okay, those are not evidence. At one point, Destiny even said, like, you seem to not understand what evidence even means. And that was a very key. That was the entire point of the entire debate, that Daniel Haqiqatjou doesn't understand the meaning of evidence. He just wants to connect random things together and paint a picture for you.
There was like I think a community post he made. I saw that on Destiny's subreddit, but I thought it was funny. Right after the debate, he said that like he felt like I need to find to remember exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of like oh, here it is. Is there anything I missed in the Tate debate with Destiny? If so, comment below. I will be addressing the top comments and stuff. I obviously expected Destiny and his liberal fanboys to misconstrue and strawman my argument, but unfortunately, a lot more Muslims than I expected are blue-pilled. So I guess like he didn't expect it, but a lot of his own fans didn't agree with him.
No, there is a huge movement within the Muslim community as well. They're like, why are we celebrating this guy? This guy is horrible. Right? So a lot of Muslims are scratching their head for why some other Muslims are celebrating Andrew Tate. And so there's a lot of infighting happening here, especially a lot of Muslim feminists are pulling their hair out over this. Oh, by the way, guys, check out Vikram has his YouTube channel there. So go check that out. Vic's Life. Go subscribe to what is your YouTube channel about?
Like right now I'm kind of rebranding a bit, but it's a lot more like entertainment focused than where I started. But it's about like dating and like dating. Political stuff. I try to combine both of them.
Dating and politics. Okay, cool.
But yeah, and I had a bunch of conversations with Destiny and Alex of Playing with Fire, like who you talk to. And yeah, that's pretty much like right now I'm taking a break because I'm busy with other stuff, but I'll get back into it soon. But yeah, the second question I wanted to talk to you about was I guess about Andrew Tate, but just a bit different from the debate. Do you recognize the value that he brings to young men?
Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
The only value that Andrew Tate brings is that he's working like an alarm that how much we have ignored young men. That's the only benefit. So I don't think his advice is any good. Well, I mean, even if he has good advice, his advice that is already there, but it's tainted with like a lot of dangerous, toxic advice, right? That makes the whole thing not worth it. But the only benefit he has is that he shows the left how much they drop the ball on young men.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that part is true. I guess the part I disagree with you is that because I've talked to with the kind of content I made, I interacted with a lot of like more red pill people or more manosphere people, like the pickup artist people. And I think the one thing you're not recognizing is that even the advice that he's giving on like working out or like how to check your finances and like what career choices to make, a lot of men don't find that advice elsewhere. So Andrew Tate was really good at providing that to them. And
right,
I don't know. I think it's a good thing he did that.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is kind of like religion, okay? Like religion tells you, oh, be charitable. I mean, these are obvious stuff that we should be able to provide it somewhere else, right? Yeah. Like obviously, it's a great advice to exercise. Obviously, it's a great advice to keep a budget. Obviously, it's a good advice to keep. But it's not good advice, by the way, to put a lot of your money in crypto. So that's horrible advice when it comes to finance.
Does he say to put a lot of money in crypto?
I mean, for young men, being excited about crypto could be very dangerous. And he does have courses on crypto and stuff like that. That's not good financial advice. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, other than exercising, what good advice does he have?
One advice he gave, I learned this from Destiny, watching him talk to some other guy. I don't know if you know who Sneeko is, but he was talking to this guy, and he said that uh, one of the big issues he found in the Red Pill movement is that they tell young men don't go to university, instead go start a business, or like create a YouTube channel, make content, like become an entrepreneur. But a lot of people out there were not meant to be leaders. We are meant to be followers. Like if you're
Yeah,
done
but
with high
Andrew
school,
Tate
you
tells
don't
you
have a
which
plan.
one to do. To go what? To go to university or to
No,
go
he
to be.
tells you to, like, if he says if you don't have a plan that's already working, if you don't have like something that's going for you, go to university. But if you have a plan but it's already making you money and you could make more money that way, then don't go to university.
I think these general advices don't make sense. Okay, I think individuals are very different, and you can't make general advices to go to university or not go to university. You can't, but the binaries version of Andrew Tate is also doesn't make sense. Like you really have to evaluate your situation with more nuance than like, oh, if this or that, then this and that. It's not that binary. I think like it's a lot more tricky than that. I honestly think like even his exercising advice comes with so much toxicity that I think like you should be able to get it from somewhere else, because it's more about gaining enough strength so that you could bully your way around when it comes to exercise with this guy. Like I mean exercise is a good advice because of health, because general health and confidence, right? But to me, he seems like his confidence boosting technique is more of a way to just slap people around. Like he is more like has more of a shark mentality rather than a cooperation mentality. I think young men need to learn that it's not a, a win-lose situation with everybody. That everybody is out there to steal your lunch, and if you don't steal their lunch first, they're gonna eat yours. So I think like that's toxic. In a way, yeah, there are a lot of men who are lack confidence, but some people's response to that is to make them confident in a way that sees everybody as an enemy that is trying to take you out and fight them, right? That's not a good way of building confidence. That most confidence should be, you should build enough confidence to use it as a way to lift people up and protect them and show that you're there for them, rather than like having your guard up and trying to take them out every time somebody gets close to you. So I don't know. I think like I don't think I just the entire attitude. Like, I mean, he's a dick.
Yeah.
Look the way we don't want young men to talk like him. We don't want that attitude. We want more caring. We want more love. We want more generosity. We want more people to feel kind, like act kind to each other. Look at the way he talks about people. If young men learn that's the, oh, I like confidence. Okay, yes, build that confidence. Is that your version of confidence? We're gonna have a more dickish world if that's how people build their confidence.
Yeah, I'll take the more red pill position on this, but the answer that Alex was playing with fire, right? The answer that he
Yes.
gave me was that there are truths in life that unfortunately, like, society tends not to teach you, especially when it comes to dating, when it comes to like how men can be better people. And unfortunately, Andrew Tate is probably the best one at giving it to people, even though like there's a lot of problems with him. It's like he does a lot of good for men by giving these
What does
advice.
he do for men? He's not doing he's making them, turning them into dicks. I don't think
No,
so.
but
I
like
don't
think
think
of
so.
like think
I
of
think the only good thing he's doing for men is now people are looking for an alternative, and I think that alternative eventually will be provided, and maybe it's thanks to Andrew Tate that alternative would be provided. But he himself is not a good source. He's not even he's not even a good source for him to be the best source.
Yeah, I think Destiny told me something similar because I brought that up to him like a couple of weeks ago. And what he told me was that I'm trying to remember exactly. I think he said that the advice that he gives is kind of basic advice. It's advice you could get elsewhere, but the problem
Yeah.
is that it's like the weird trafficking stuff he was being involved in, and like the other stuff. Like his advice kind of eventually leads towards that. Even though if at the beginning there's a bunch of good stuff here, sorry. Eventually, like as it goes up, it's like as you follow his advice more and more, he's basically turning you into him.
To him, to Andrew
In
Tate.
into someone like him. Like he's turning you into someone.
That's my problem. That's my problem with it. You're like, oh, that's like your view is like it's actually good. He's turning young men into him. Well, yeah, that's not a good thing. I think we don't need more Andrew Tates in the world. Like he is not a person. He's obviously somebody that is in it for himself. He doesn't care about other people. He treats people like garbage. And if that's a role model for man, devil help us, because that's not a future. Yeah. That's not good for the planet.
Yeah, but when it comes to like the crazy stuff he says on social media, like the misogyny, all the weird political and social stuff he says, it's just complete nonsense. The way I look at it is that I see him as like a genius marketer. He's doing there's a book I read called Trust Me, I'm Lying. It's like a marketing book, but like how people use outrage to gain publicity. It's like you see something outrageous, people share your stuff around insulting you. But the more they share your offensive stuff, the more people see you. And now people come to see your content. And now when they come to see your content, they see your life advice. They see all the good advice that you've given, and they stay for that. So just by doing that,
he doesn't have good advice, and his crap advice are spreading even more like wildfire than anything good that he has been doing. I mean, I don't understand. We're talking about somebody who's liberating men from being loners and incels, but the guy is actually somebody who brags about manipulating men, acting like he himself is the girls and telling people, stealing their money, bragging to you about stealing desperate lonely men's money out of their hands, and telling you and openly telling you that I did this and I'm proud of it. And then we're like, oh, here's a savior of young lonely incels. Like, dude, he's their worst enemy. He's telling you to your face that he's doing this to men.
Yeah. No, that part was really bad. Even like I was talking to Alex about it, and even he told me that, that was really bad of him to have done that.
But then if you look at him as a role model, young men are so easily manipulated, okay? Especially young teenagers. If you say that this is a good man and they say like, okay, and then they see his actions and they consider that to be okay. They will try to justify it. Think about, Andrew Tate, if he was giving good advice, that would make him worse to humanity. Because, it's kind of like Islam. If he has just a few good passages, that's a good way to sell it. And the whole thing is destructive to the planet. Like Christianity, for example, is horrible for the humanity. Islam is horrible for humanity. But there's just a few good passages that you can find in the Bible and the Quran, and be like, oh, look, this is a good advice. You can't deny that this is good advice. And then you use that to keep the Quran and the Bible as a role model. But the effects of the Quran and the Bible on humanity is bad. If you say like, well, look, Andrew Tate has a few good messages, that's enough for people who are like, okay, let's not throw him out. And that's enough for a lot of young people to consider him like, okay, everybody's being unfair to him because he has good advice. But again, when you look at young men, they look at role models like a prophet, like a goddamn saint. And when you have sold this to young people as a role model, they take everything, including his abusive behavior, including his manipulative behavior on young boys and men.
Yeah, no, that's true. That part is true. With it's a weird situation because if I talk to a guy who's more red pilled and he explains to me the stuff he learns from Andrew Tate, because a lot of guys actually started working on their finances thanks to him, or like started working out thanks to him. But so long as you only take that advice from him, I don't really care that much. But it's just worrying because a lot of them take the other stuff.
Yeah, but here's the thing: when you take good advice from him, okay, how did you recognize that was one of his good advices and not one of his bad advices? How do you recognize that?
No, a lot of them don't. Like a lot of them take his bad stuff too as well.
I know, but if you are capable, if you're somebody like, let's say Andrew Tate has good advice and bad advice, if you are somebody that can completely recognize the good for the bad, then you're not taking anything from Andrew Tate. Then you are the one who knows what is good advice.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's like because
it's kind of like people say like, you know what, Islam has bad parts, but there has some good advice as well. And like, okay, how do you recognize that? Because if you can recognize the good parts of the Quran from the bad part, that means you have a moral compass that is separate from the Quran, so you don't need the Quran. You're getting that level of recognition of what's good and bad. You're getting it from somewhere else. It's not that person.
Yeah, it's like if you know that's good advice, which means you already knew it before you read it. You didn't need to read it to learn it. Yeah, yeah, and just like a final topic I was gonna ask you about, it was about So just give me a second. It was about yeah about ex-Muslims and the stuff you brought up about like how ex-Muslims in the past were more like, I think you said the previous ex-Muslim ended up falling for the far right, and how like I think, but isn't it true that like a lot of ex-Muslim activists in the Middle East are communists or like super far left?
Yeah, a lot of them are, but not majority of them, but a lot of them. I mean, depends on which country you're talking about. In Iran, not anymore. Um, yeah, maybe before the revolution, before the 1979 revolution, that was the case in Iran, but not now. Depends on which country you're talking about. For example, I don't think the ex-Muslims in Saudi Arabia are communists. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe around Palestine, a lot of them might be, a lot of the left atheists are communists. But there is a heavy communist presence in ex-Muslims communities in a lot of these countries, but I wouldn't say they're a majority.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I wrote back in the day when Ayaan Hirsi Ali, when she was into the um, when she got into content and stuff, I think she became she became quite, I mean, she became very right wing in a lot of ways. Like even she's like defending like people on the right, which I didn't expect her to defend. But there was so yeah, who else were there that like were quite problematic? I guess Yasmin Mohammed is sometimes good, sometimes kind of weird.
Yeah, she's good. I appreciate a lot of her work she does, but yeah, sometimes especially when she leaned into the Hindutva people, that was very bad.
Oh, does she
It,
still do it, or did she backtrack from
I
it?
don't no, that was a long time ago. I don't know if she still does it or not. I mean, you have to know it's very convenient, because they give you a lot of attention really fast. And when you lean into it, you see like, oh my god, look at my audience growth, how fast it is, right? This is exactly what I did the opposite of, right? Remember when I came and desecrated the Quran? That
Yeah.
was when I got a huge wave of Hindutva support. And that's why I came out and I did the whole Kali thing, right? Did the whole sexy Kali thing, because I was like,
Yeah.
look at my audience is going all Hindutva, is growing. I could have leaned into that. That was like, I saw a major boost in engagement when I was desecrating the Quran. It was so easy to just lean into it and just take advantage of that. But instead of doing that, I just did the exact opposite. I was like, "Oh, you enjoy the desecration of holy things, hey? Well, how about your goddesses?" So they did not like that. That turned out
Yeah.
very bad.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah.
those were. I don't know if I still are pissed off at you, but for a while, like I remember, I was on Facebook. I got a message from like a friend of mine. She was like, "Hey, do you know this guy?" And it was you. She was like, "Yeah, yeah, I know him." Like, because I think she saw we were like friends on Facebook. She was like, "Yeah, he's pissed off a lot of Hindus." And I was like, "Wow."
Yes, I have that on my resume. But to
Yeah,
be
but
fair, I also got a lot of Hindu support.
mm, yeah, it's true. You got there were a bunch of people who came to debate you and stuff, and who were quite chill. But there was also
Yes.
that one guy. I'm not gonna say his name, but he was kind of out of his mind. Uh, he was. I think he called you like At first, he was a supporter of you, and then he became a non-supporter, then a supporter again, then not supporter again. I'm not gonna say his name, but
Wait,
uh,
who?
the the Hindu atheist dude who was really pissed off at you for, and I think he said the ex-Muslim movement was anti-Hindu or whatever.
Oh.
You debated him on Secular Jihadists, and I think on Atheist
Oh
Republic as
yeah, that
well.
guy. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, another thing about the ex-Muslim thing, uh, I saw a video today on Atheist Republic that was posted like 4 months ago, where Susanna and you were talking about this dude called CJ Wellman,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And you guys were talking about how like on Secular Jihadists, you guys we're gonna go more in details in terms of the bad stuff he said about ex-Muslims, but I couldn't find the video on Secular
Is it?
Jihadists.
I don't know. I never ended up doing that. Do you think it's worth it to
I
go
don't know.
after
I
him?
was just
No.
curious because I before I saw that video, I didn't even know who that
Oh.
guy is. So I was wondering,
Oh yeah, he used to be very famous back in the whole calling ex-Muslims Islamophobic days. He used to be one of the leading people
okay.
calling out. Yeah. So
And
yeah,
wait,
maybe one day I'll do a critique on one of his videos. That would be good.
I mean, if he's a nobody, it might not
Oh
be
wait,
worth it.
I did do a review video. I did review. I forgot. I don't know where I did it because
Maybe
he was
someone
like
in chat can post the link or something.
because he was. I remember looking at one of his videos and telling people like because he used Abdullah Samir as an example of like one of these bigots, and I was like he went and found the chillest, the most friendly ex-Muslim out there that is actually very sensitive about not saying things that might be bigoted, right? Like he goes and he polices other ex-Muslims to make sure that they are anti-Islam and not anti-Muslim. And he is so friendly and he's so chill and he's so relaxed and never goes like, and he uses that as the image of ex-Muslims being bigots. It was like, okay, if you don't see Abdullah Samir as somebody mild, then you have the entire ex-Muslim movement for you. I don't know. Yeah, somebody saying he's irrelevant. Well, I'll check. I'll check if his videos are getting a lot of views. But what do you think
Yeah.
about just doing a lot of reviews on? I'm going to do a lot of streams on Ali Dava, Muhammad Hijab, Daniel Hayraju's videos, and Smiles with Jannah. Do you have any? Do you think
If you
that'd
want to
be
get
good?
a lot of views to your personal channel, we should do because our review of Destiny's first debate with Hakigachu got a lot of views. So we should just do, I mean, relatively speaking, for that channel, we should we could maybe one day do a second review. I'll say.
Yeah, that would be a good idea actually. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like
Yeah.
we did like a 6 hour review. Like I've never put this much work into anything in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I know Destiny shared both videos with his audience and stuff. So that was like
Yeah.
and yeah, another thing about I want to talk to you about so I saw on Secular Jihadists you had not Ali Rizvi, sorry, you had the guy, the Pakistani ex-Muslim did two
I don't
Pakistani
remember.
ex-Muslims, Video
Okay.
Vids and
Oh yes.
Harry
Oh yeah.
Sultan, yeah,
Yes. Okay.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think
You
about that.
guys talked about transgender issues, and
Yes.
first, I wanted to know, is Vidovic saying his honest beliefs or is he playing a character? Because he seemed like he was playing a character, but I couldn't tell.
No, it's his honest beliefs.
Okay, because he was like, because sometimes like, I feel like he was kind of acting more outraged at some point. So I was like, oh, is he acting or is he genuine, you know?
Sometimes he just likes to maybe say it in a controversial way, but a lot of it is his views.
Okay. And I was kind of wondering, have you changed your take on transmedicalism?
What do you think my views are on transmedicalism?
So personally, I lean towards a soft version of transmedicalism. So transmedicalism, in like the basic, the general sense, is just to be, you believe a belief that for someone to be trans, they need to have gender dysphoria, which means like they need to feel like it's like a mental illness, like a feeling that there's something wrong with you with your body, and there's like a need to change that. But the like left wing take is that you don't need dysphoria to be trans. But personally, I say you need some type of dysphoria. But people like Blair White and like woke, like people like her would say no. Like if you're not like super hardcore dysphoria, you're just faking it. I wouldn't go that far, but I do think that, yeah.
No, I do think like, okay, so socially, okay, I don't need you to have gender dysphoria for me to just be respecting your choices. Okay. So if you say you're trans, I'll just accept that, just socially. Okay.
Yeah.
Practically and legally, there needs to be a little bit of a barrier so that this thing cannot be abused. Just a little bit, just a tiny bit. For example, I don't know, 2 years living as a trans, some recognition of gender, dysphoria. Okay, but again, if I'm I'm willing to change my position of this, right? But practically and legally, if you want you to be recognized with this new gender, I think there needs to be a barrier that is introduced. It can't be just like I can change my gender every 5 minutes. I know people don't do that, but I know a lot of bigots, a lot of transphobes who do that, who just to make this whole thing look ridiculous. So at least if you want to close it off to being taken abused by bigots, then put just a little bit of a wall to make it a little bit difficult for people to take advantage of the system. Again, but this wall of like being recognized that you have the gender dysphoria and living as 2 years with your new gender before the name recognition and before legally being assigned a new gender, that is legal and practical things. But socially, I just want to say that I'll go with whatever you want to say. I'll go with whatever pronouns, whatever name, whatever gender you want. I don't need to wait for 2 years. Just tell me what you want and I'll go with that.
Yeah, I guess we agree on this. The only difference is that if someone tells me they go by he, him, or she, her, I'm cool with that. They don't need to tell me why or whatever. I'll just use that. But if they use some like weird like neo gender pronoun whatever, that I might not use. I'll just use they them.
Why not? I'll just use, if somebody says use Z, them. I don't know. What is it? Z?
I don't even know. There's like hundreds of them because people can like make up.
I don't like. Why not? I mean, if it's why not? I don't lose anything. I'll just use.
Yeah, it's kind of silly though, right? It's like, it makes a joke
so,
out of.
Yeah, but me using it is not. It's not gonna.
Yeah,
I mean, what's the cost when I use it?
Just to be nice to them, yeah.
I mean, even if it's silly, I'm not being silly by just that person might be silly if they're using like some new pronouns that nobody's using. But me just being like, sure, we're not. I mean, it would just be a weird like, I'm holding my ground here. No, like, like I will never. You can't make me, like over my dead body. Like, sure, whatever. Like, yeah. I mean, I think as silly it is. Okay, here's the thing. As silly it is to maybe make up new pronouns that no one uses, okay, it is even sillier to resist using them if somebody's asking it. Like, it's like acting like your rights or something is like you're like sacrifice. Like, no, I am defending these principles. It's kind of like acting your Chad or something just because you're refusing to use such a pronouns. I think that's also silly, no?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the way I look at it, it's like less than 1% of the world is trans. Like, if someone who's trans tells you, hey, I use these pronouns, just use it. Realistically, you're not going to meet that many people. Like, it's not a big deal. And I just want to think, can we respond to, I guess, I don't know if this is a spam account, like Nad, who said Top G, free Top G.
Oh, yeah, free Top G. Oh yeah, why are you saying this all over and over again?
Like, I mean, if he didn't do anything wrong, yeah, free him. But by the looks of it, because I saw Destiny go through like the evidence and stuff, even if he's found not guilty, internally, I feel like no, he did something. Like,
I am more inclined to think he did something. I think like if I believe, again, I don't know for sure, okay, but it's my assumption that might be completely wrong, that if he goes free is because he committed a crime, but it was not provable. But I genuinely think that he committed a crime, but it was hard to prove. By the way, John is saying link, please, guys. The link for coming up is only for YouTube members. It's on the community tab and it's only available for YouTube members. And Seed is saying bells are haram. I'll hit it 50 times if I could. Yeah, guys, hit the bell notification, so that you know when we're going live.
Yeah, I don't know, because that's my conversation with Destiny got me to look more into Tate, and then the next day Destiny released a bunch of videos like going through like the accusations and stuff. It's kind of weird because like he admits to like the stuff he promotes, like because there are clips of him explaining how to like manipulate, like how he manipulated these women into like doing the like
he openly claimed.
Yeah, I almost use the word, but I don't know if you should be like the actual word, like the cam WH, stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, it's kind of weird. There's nothing wrong with doing sex work. It's cool. There's nothing. I don't even know if there's anything wrong with being technically like a manager for sex workers. but Destiny said that being a pimp is just not ethical.
I don't know. I don't know how the pimp model works, but I mean, in this day and age, I don't know why you even need a pimp, given that how much OnlyFans and everything just gives you complete control over everything. Um, and you just take control over your entire business. Why do you need a pimp? It's so much easier for sex workers now to control everything. So yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know though. I don't know. I can't make a judgment about. I mean, it just seems to. It just seems like they're going to take advantage of you, right? Also, he took advantage of out of the woman not being able to know how to do their taxes. I
yeah,
mean, within the sex working community, there's a lot of support. So you should just ask other sex workers, and they will connect you with the right people that could show you the way. And once you learn this thing once, you should be able to figure it out the rest. Like you just learn it. It's not, it's automatic. You just go somewhere and you just tell them how much you made, and they will do the tax work, everything for you. So there's that.
yeah. His like lover boy method thing. I didn't even know that was a thing because it's kind of weird for me that women will do sex work just because they like the guy who owns it. Because I feel like women, if you want to get laid as a girl, it's really easy to get laid. You don't need to put that much effort into it. So I don't know why they would sell themselves to some
I
to
think
some
he's
dude.
lying. I think he's lying about his how much his love thing was an influence. I think he's lying about that.
Yeah. Yeah, but at least the stuff I saw that Skinny bring up about him was just super worrying and like I don't know. But then I understand why people like his life advice, but yeah, you can't defend any of the stuff he advocates for. Like,
Yeah,
and but
but
one
I
thing
also think I also think when he gives you tips on how to be a pimp or like manager of like cam girls and stuff like that, I also think that he doesn't actually give you the way he did it. He's telling you what makes him look cooler. Like it's like when he
yeah,
said like, "Oh, you have to have sex with a girl before you manage." But like, he's not saying this because this is actually the best practice. He just like, oh my, the young boys watching that, like, oh my god, I wish I had this job. I wish I was like doing, my work involved having sex with them. That is it's more about like making him look good rather than actually giving you
yeah.
genuine advice. Yeah,
It's like when you're a kid and like I don't know, let's say like you who like the kid who brags to his friend about how like either he won a fight or he did some crazy thing, and then when you actually look at what really happened, it's nowhere near that interesting. It's like,
yeah,
but about Andrew Tate and Islam, him converting to Islam, I don't believe it. I think he's still an atheist.
yeah.
He's just BSing.
I don't. Okay, there are certain type of people that what they believe in is not. I don't think they even. It's kind of like Trump. Like
Yeah.
what you believe in is the image that you put out there is also what you see. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it's not genuine, but it's genuine enough for them to even fall for it. Yeah, like you could be lying, but you could also believe your own lies because it's just. I think the brain is costly in for the brain to lie, right? So for you to make it easier to lie, just believe it, and then you're not lying. Do you know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
might be just for show, but it might be something that you also fall for it that is actually true, even though
Yeah.
you're
Because
lying.
I don't know if you saw his video on like why he's no longer an atheist before he converted to Islam.
Yeah, I
Like
didn't.
it
Yeah.
was a nonsense video. He was just like,
It's
"Yeah, I decided I was no longer going to be an atheist." Okay, how is that how it works? I'm like, okay, I'm an atheist today. Tomorrow, I'm just not going to be.
it's
Now,
about it's a
now I'm
more
not going to believe.
he thinks it's about a power play rather than actually just seeing what's true, right? It's about
Yeah,
everything for him is about what is a demonstration of strength, right? So it's not about whether Islam is true, whether atheism is the correct position. It's more about which of these positions demonstrates that you have strength. That's all that matters. That's his criteria.
yeah. That's the way he looks at the world. He has an interesting perspective, but that perspective will never lead you to actually true beliefs. It's just it's just he has a perspective in his mind that he's trying to reach. It's like Nietzsche's Übermensch, the Ultraman, that this image that he has, and he believes he tries to form himself into whatever will lead him to be the top G or whatever.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. There was a final thing, and then I'm gonna head out about. So when it comes to ex-Muslims, and you said that. Okay, I'm not sure. Are you okay? I'll rephrase the question. Sorry. So when we saw that Iran became 50% like non-religious, whichever it was, whatever they believe now, but
No,
I guess 50% left religion altogether.
mm,
And you said that not Dubai, you said like a lot of other Middle Eastern countries are going to follow. Like you
mhm.
mentioned Saudi Arabia, Egypt. Are you really that hopeful?
Yes, very much.
Because I mean, I lived in Dubai for a while, and like
Hmm.
Dubai is nowhere near as intense as Saudi or Egypt and stuff. But
Hmm.
I don't even know if like people who are local could even be ex-Muslims even there. You know?
Um, yeah, the level of access to information and internet is going to grow at a massive speed, and the amount of information the amount of influence the globe is having on each other. You are going to be able to just get access to the internet, to satellite internet on your phone anywhere on the
Yeah.
planet very at some point,
Mhm.
um and and we have, I mean, I like, things are changing faster than I even anticipated. Like, I don't know if you've seen what the AI revolution is doing right now, right? I just don't think people are ready for how much change is about to hit us. Okay, and I don't think religion has a chance. I don't think it has a chance. Not just Islam. I think religion doesn't have a chance.
There was a book I read part of it like 4 years ago. It's called like
Mm,
Strange Death of Europe by Douglas Murray. That
yes.
book predicted a whole bunch of stuff that never turned out to be true. Like,
That book was just random. Just that was entirely fear mongering.
yeah,
That was book was, yeah. Death
yeah,
of Europe
that
was
book.
ridiculous. In fact, it ended up being the opposite. And it ended up
Yes.
being that it seems like Germany didn't bring in enough immigrants. People are like, oh my God, Germany brought too many immigrants. Like, now we're realizing, okay, like, apparently they should have brought more. so,
Yeah,
yeah.
there was an. I don't know what happened about this. Like, have you heard about when Douglas Murray talked about the Calais jungle in Paris and the Rotterdam, whatever
I have no
scandal,
idea.
where like,
No.
it was like in
Oh.
the book. It was like 4 years ago. It was like how like a city in Germany, like Muslims went out in public and was just raping women here, like left and right.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Have you heard that one?
No, I know about a place. I know about Cologne in Germany. That was some case of people were
Oh, my,
constantly.
it might be, yeah, it might be the one, maybe that one. I might be mixing up some different, but yeah, there might be that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I
What
heard about that one. That was big news.
was, oh yeah, but I remember he used that example and then he was like, oh, that's only the beginning. But then it never, I
No,
haven't
no,
heard it again.
that was just one incident, and it didn't become as the norm as they claim. Yeah, not
Yeah,
at all.
because the argument he made was that like basically Muslims are having more kids while everyone else is turning into atheists. So it's like in
Mm.
the end, you're gonna get every majority of people gonna be Muslims or whatever.
You know
But
what? Actually, one reason why Islam is going to suffer is because of the immigrants.
yeah,
More Muslims coming to free countries are going to make them more exposed to liberal values, and it's going to
mhm,
basic. Right now, we're having a civil war between the liberal Muslims and conservative Muslims, right? And these liberal Muslims have been influenced mostly because they migrated to more liberal countries. So it's working. The migration is actually working in our favor. These are going
yeah,
these Muslims in liberal countries, their change in views and values is going to have an effect on their home countries, because a lot of, I don't know about, judging by how I see, like in Iran, for example, the dysphoria, the Iranians outside of Iran are constantly engaging with Iranians inside of Iran. and they're constantly changing each other's minds and influencing them, right? So Iranians living in Canada and United States and Europe, seeing the standards there, seeing the values there, seeing the politics there, are constantly talking about this is how things should be, this is how things are, this is what the standards are. Like, you have no idea what you're saying, how ridiculous that would be in France, blah blah blah, and bragging about it. Like, so they're constantly influencing the opinions. Like, Iranians in Iran are constantly being lectured to by Iranians outside of Iran about how backward their views are. So again, this migration has an influence, right?
And by the way, there's this guy I know. I'm not super close to him. We've had a couple of interactions. He's like very kind of more right wing and like kind of red pill, but like he has a bit of a following. You can look him up. He's undead chronic. Would you be down to talk to him? But he has a good following. Undead chronic. I'll put his link in the private chat that you can check whenever. But he has an okay following. He gets a lot of views, but I don't know if you'd be down to debate him on like religion and like stuff. He's a lot more on the red pill side, and I think he's like a devout Christian, but he's a chill dude. He can be a bit edgy, but he's like, I've talked to him. He's like a nice person.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
But yeah, we can talk about.
I mean, I haven't gotten much benefit from talking to other people. I need to focus more on creating content on my own channel.
Yeah, and that's fine. Another thing, just to continue the conversation about Douglas. Yeah, one thing that was kind of crazy. So I used to be of the mind that like when you watch TV, when you watch like movies, shows, whatever it is, representation shouldn't matter. You should enjoy a story just for the sake of the story. Like representation, if you care this much about representation, you're kind of a loser. But I'll be honest, like then I realized one thing about me when I was 16 and I thought I was the only atheist on earth. Watching Dawkins talk about atheism, watching like a TV show that had an atheist character in there, it did make me feel good. And it makes no sense why I did that, but it actually did. And I don't know why. Like it's just I actually did feel good listening to someone else share the beliefs that I hold, that I held, and I still hold. But it felt different. And even to this day, if I see someone especially if I'm like, I was watching even Miss Marvel, which wasn't a good show at all, but it felt weird being able to relate with a character on like cultural stuff.
Yeah.
It's not rational at all, but it did feel good.
Why is it not rational? We that's how we bond with people when that's how we associate with other people. When we share values, we share perspectives, we feel a connection. Why is that not rational?
Because if you're watching a show, the person being from like a culture that you recognize or having a skin color that you're like that's similar to yours or whatever, that shouldn't matter, right?
I mean, that's how our brains are wired. I mean, the skin one is good to resist that one, but I don't know why can't we enjoy connecting to somebody that shares our values. That seems to be not problematic at all.
Yeah, the skin color isn't a big deal. I don't like. It's like as I said, right? Dawkins was like a big inspiration for me. But
yeah, but I don't understand what's irrational. I see, like, I have a view, and I see somebody on TV expressing that view, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually feeling a connection to that, enjoying that. What the hell? What's irrational about that?
No, but it's like if I'm watching, I should be. Like, I enjoy Harry Potter. Harry Potter was my favorite like book as a kid. Harry Potter is a white dude. I've enjoyed like the Marvel stuff up until Phase 4.
But tell me what's irrational about finding connection with a character that shares your views or values? What's irrational about it?
It feels very like so just give me a second to get the right word. If there's something kind of strange with the fact that it's like the reason I'm enjoying that art, it's because I relate to the characters, like cultural experience.
Again, I don't understand the irrationality of it, so I think it's fine.
Okay, no, let's say.
All right, but I need to get going. We're hit the 2-hour mark. But let me know what you think. Why it's irrational? Because I don't see any cause for it. In fact, I think it's good because it's an alternative to people finding connection over nationality or skin color. Okay, I think if you could provide an alternative, which is over values, and perspectives, I think that's promoting that over skin color is because our brains are tribal anyways. You can't eliminate that, so why not just a healthier version of it with a unhealthy version of it?
Yeah, that's true. No, you're right. You're right on this. I didn't think of it that way, but now that you bring that up, it's very obvious. Yeah. And now it makes sense. I can't really defend what I just said like 10 seconds ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much for having me on.
All right, thank you for your questions. I really enjoyed actually talking to you about them. They are really good topics. So thank you for bringing them up.
In the future, let's go through maybe a quicker review this time of Destiny's Hakikachu second debate.
Yeah, sure, we could do that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Sounds good. Talk to you later. Bye. All right, guys. Like the video. Tell your friends to come and subscribe to this channel. Okay. And subscribe and hit the bell notification and leave a comment. And again, consider becoming a YouTube member, because I'm going to have streams that are only available to members. It's going to be probably nobody there, or maybe one person there, but I guess you get like a very exclusive stream with just me. So yeah, consider becoming a YouTube member, and we will have member only streams at some point. All right, guys. And I'm going to have a lot more streams reviewing Muslim YouTube channels, Ali Davo, Muhammad Hijab, Daniel Hayraju, and Smile to Jannah. So if you like that, just make sure you are tuned in for future shows. All right, guys. Bye. Mwah.